Hey guys, welcome to The Strong Young Man. Pay the price today so that you can pay any price tomorrow. The ability to delay gratification in the present for future benefit is an underestimated ability. Once mastered, it'll bring you much more success than your peers who don't cultivate this ability. The ability to sacrifice is actually an acquired cognitive skill. It can begin in childhood, as seen by the Stanford Marshmallow test in 1972. The Stanford Marshmallow test was an experiment where children were offered one small immediate reward or two small rewards if they waited a period of time. During this time, the researcher left the room for about 15 minutes and then returned. The longer the children waited turned out to predict much about their future lives. The children who waited for the adult to return did significantly better in school, had more friends, coped better under stress, and had better physical and mental health. This parallel is extremely relevant for adults when scaled to real-world situations. Humans are unique creatures because we have a developed brain which allows us to plan for the future. Some people are better than others at self-control, but almost everyone can find ways to make it easier. It's more than just willpower. Willpower will only get you so far. There are techniques to implementing effective self-control strategies to control your hot impulses. If you are finding that you are behind in life, it is likely that you are not controlling your hot impulses and sacrificing value in the present for future benefit. Quick short-term satisfaction will cause you slow, long-term problems. The longer this goes on, the bigger social debt you cause for yourself. Best to start this practice as early as possible to minimise the impact that the inability to delay gratification can have on your life. Some examples of delaying gratification include saving money for the future rather than spending it on what you want now. Eating healthy regularly so that you remain healthier into your old age. Working hard now rather than leaving something to the last minute. Not pressing the snooze button so that you wake up on time to get a head start on the day. Sacrificing playtime in your childhood to work hard and develop yourself, much like what you are doing right now by watching this channel. Like I mentioned before, willpower is not the greatest technique. The following are some better prevention strategies which can be used to enhance your ability to delay gratification. I will use the simple concept of breaking the habit of smoking to illustrate the example. Strategy 1. Distraction. Distract yourself from the temptation. By keeping busy, you reduce your attention towards that temptation. For example, keeping busy so that you aren't thinking about smoking. Eventually, the thought will disappear. Strategy 2. Make the behaviour difficult. Put roadblocks or steps in place that will inhibit your ability to get to the point where you are tempted. For example, put the cigarettes on a high shelf in the cupboard or in a locked cupboard with the key stored in an obscure location. Strategy 3. Remove the temptation or prompt. Similar to strategy 2, removing the temptation or prompt altogether will inhibit your ability to succumb to temptation even if you wanted to. For example, throw out the cigarettes. By having no access to cigarettes, you will need to get into your car to drive to the store to get some or bum cigarettes from strangers. Strategy 4. Have an implementation plan. Have an implementation plan for what you need to do when you are faced with that temptation and stick to that plan. For example, if I want to smoke, I chew gum instead. By replacing a bad habit with a less destructive habit, you will eventually program yourself to seek that less destructive habit. Strategy 5. Shift your perspectives. Shift your time perspective on the behaviour you are doing from now to later. By focusing on the long-term consequences rather than the short-term high, you will be able to reduce your tendency to reap the immediate reward. For example, focus on the cigarettes causing you cancer rather than the immediate satisfaction. If the long-term consequences aren't obvious, find them, look them up online, or even make them up. Anything to get you to see the destruction that your bad habit is causing you. This strategy, like anything well practiced, will improve over time. The more you do, the easier it becomes and the better your life will become. Another aspect worth considering on the road to mastering your self-control is deliberately enduring pain now for less future pain. This quality requires so much discipline because our brains view loss as more significant than gain. This is known as loss aversion or negativity bias. It is defined as the tendency to prefer avoiding losses to acquiring equivalent gains. The brain's response to losses is stronger than the response to corresponding gains. The limbic system of the brain has evolved to think this way. Organisms that treat threats more urgent than opportunities have a better chance to survive and reproduce. For example, when humanity operated close to the edge of survival, the loss of a day's water could cause death, whereas the gain of an extra day's water would only result in an extra day of life. Humans are more okay with not suffering than living comfortably, because we can only experience so much happiness, but suffering is a bottomless pit. No matter how bad something is, there is always a way in which you can make it worse. Long-term dangers are not always present when making decisions, but if the short-term danger is, then we will move to avoid it. Our brains are designed to make us notice what will immediately harm us in our surrounding environment. They do not give preferential treatment to dangers looming in the future that our behaviours might cause. In the modern world, this is not always desirable. When looking at this abstractly, most of the time, small, short-term suffering, in order to eliminate long-term suffering, is more effective than sacrificing the present gain for a larger future benefit. Often enough, by the time we notice the consequences generated by not suffering in the short term, it is too late. You must use foresight and knowledge as prerequisites to arm you with the necessary information to suffer in the short term, to reduce the suffering you experience in your later years. Examples of confronting pain to minimise future suffering include sacrificing your ego today so that you can take responsibility for your failures and learn from them in the future, confronting painful emotions in the now so that they don't plague you in the future, or sitting in an ice bath to treat physical injuries. You know what is good for you and you know what is harmful for you. If it feels good immediately, it is likely that it is not good for you. Restrict yourself from immediate cravings and become comfortable confronting uncomfortable situations. This will increase the value of the immediate pleasures when you do allow yourself indulgences. Try not to spend too much time with people who don't think and act like this. You will get drawn into their methods despite your good intentions not to. The opposite of this is true. If you surround yourself with people who have mastery over their self-control, then you will absorb their energy, and this will increase your ability to delay gratification. This will bring you happiness and success in the future. There is another bulletproof method that I'm going to go over in a future episode, which will help you develop and keep good habits. It will program your brain to perform healthy habits, while at the same time, eliminating the destructive habits which steer you away from greatness. It will help to give you an idea of whether or not a good or bad behaviour will occur, and graphically illustrate how you can manipulate your motivation and ability to work in your favour. Final thought. A life lived with too much self-control can be as unsatisfying as one lived with too little self-control. Be sparing with the moments that you choose to forego self-control in order to find the healthy balance that suits you personally. Thanks for watching today's episode. In episode 12, I'll talk about why life is unfair and why this is okay. Subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when it drops. Catch you then.